What is up, guys? Welcome to yet another episode of Kicking It with Manny. Today, I am super excited. You already know. And I have my guest with me. I have two beautiful ladies, and we wanted to talk to you guys about what women look for in their ideal man. The beautiful ladies with me, and they're going to share their views, their opinions, their experiences, and just things that can help you guys gain some kind of understanding into what women look for in their ideal man. If you're new here and you enjoy conversations like this, make sure you hit the like button, drop a comment below, subscribe if you haven't already, guys, and let's dive into today's episode. Okay, ladies. Hi. Today I'm super excited. I wanted to talk to you guys just to share your perspective and your opinions about what women look for in their ideal man. First of all, I'll have you guys introduce yourselves. I'm going to start from Rachel. Your name, what you do, and just something fun you enjoy doing on your free time.
Okay, I'm Rachel. I am from the Midwest and I currently do affordable housing and commercial real estate. Something fun I do is snowboard out in Denver.
Sweet. What about you?
So my name is Lynne. I am from Cleveland, Ohio, as well as Rachel. I currently work as a clinical dietitian, and something fun that I like to do, I really enjoy yoga, playing volleyball, and just general exercise, being outdoors.
Nice. That's really what Colorado really brings. All right, guys. So we're going to jump into the conversation. All right, ladies. So what do you ladies, or what do you women look for in your ideal man? We can start from, since you started first, I'm going to start from here. Let's go.
Okay. For my ideal man, I really look for someone that matches my values. So something that I look for is that I want someone that has a career that they're passionate about. I want someone that values family, that takes care of themselves both mentally and physically. I think it's really important for a man to be confident without being boastful and sure of himself, and able to care for himself and attain the things that he wants, because that means that he would be a good partner for you and able to give you that same care. So that is something that I look for.
Nice. Well explained. What about you, Rachel?
Yeah, well, that was a whole lot, and I agree on all those points. I'd say a top one would be being driven, passionate, ambitious about a passion, so sport, activity, a job, career, side hustle, any of that, just for them to have something in their life that's going to allow them to wake up every day, aside from me, of course. And yeah, because that drive is something that their partner, myself, could support them in every day and help them grow as a person related to that. And I think it expands into other parts of life as well.
Nice. And so with you ladies, do you, what the things that you just mentioned, they are great things to look for. We all have that expectations. But when it comes to what you guys bring, if you meet that ideal guy and he brings all these things to the table, what is something that you bring that you will say that is that one of the unique things about you guys, like women, I'm talking about women in general. What is that one specific thing outside of you being pretty, you being financially stable? What are some of the things that you feel like some of you guys, you women, bring to the table to that ideal guy?
So I would say that the things that we look for in men, or at least speaking for myself, yes, like I had kind of mentioned previously, like I want our values to match, but it doesn't necessarily mean that our hobbies, interests, and exact goals are going to be the same. So it's always going to be a conversation starter and things to talk about and be intrigued by.
Right.
And also, I think, once you get deeper and develop feelings, ideally, like the healthy relationship where you're in love, it's that person will do whatever it takes to make you happy. And that's like a once in a lifetime opportunity. And for some people, they'd be lucky to find it more than once, but it's such a rare thing to have someone that would put your happiness equal or even more than themselves, and will always support you in your dreams and goals, and they're always going to be in your corner.
That's really good. I'm really glad you shared a lot of light on this. So, with what you shared, I want to have more questions. Okay, with women, should a guy be the one responsible for your happiness?
No, I disagree.
Okay, so if you meet the ideal guy, right, Rachel, if you meet the ideal guy and everything is flowing, everything, the chemistry, everything is great, and with this ideal guy, do you think that does his happiness validate your happiness, or do you guys come together to build that happiness together?
Definitely the second one. You build the happiness
I
together.
just answered your question for you.
Yeah, you
I
did.
think that it's important for you to be a whole person and happy by yourself in order to make a good partner for someone else. It's never a healthy relationship, and it can end up turning toxic very quickly when you have someone that isn't happy at baseline and depending on you. It almost kind of acts like a suction, like they're draining some of your happiness to fulfill their own happiness. You want a whole complete person
Right.
that is good on their own, and that when you're in addition to their life, it just adds to it. It doesn't fill anything or also take anything away.
So if you guys meet the ideal man and everything is flowing, the chemistry, the connection, everything that you look for, you have that in the ideal man. You meet this person, everything is going right, and eventually along the line, certain things start falling off. Does that now invalidate these things that you've seen in him from the first place? Or how would you guys, because let's say you meet the person, everything is flowing, right? And you guys are great, but eventually along the line, something happened. And so when I say something happens, maybe he loses a drive, he stopped working out, or he stopped pursuing this passion that made you attracted to him in the first place. What do you women normally do? Do you guys just ditch him and then go to the next one, or do you guys try to find a middle ground or trying to find a resolution to kind of like work things out?
Well, I can't speak for all women, but me personally, I'm looking to invest in a long-term partner. So I would assume if whatever I do for them and support them when they're down low, that they would do it for me. And I know it myself, I'm far from perfect, and I hit lows and highs, and I anticipate my partner to do the same as everyone should in life. So I would absolutely not ditch them. I think it's circumstantial to a degree, and if it happens over and over, there might be a little bit more of an issue there that you have to address. But certainly no, I would not just ditch my partner.
Okay, so with just not anything personal to you guys, but how you guys have conversations with your friends and stuff like that, from present, from past, and stuff like that. Do you think a lot of what women look for in men these days are unrealistic?
Do you have any examples?
So a lot of women say that they look for a man who makes a certain type of income, or a man who is in a certain specific standard. Like it could be connections, it could be physical, it could be financially, and it could be a mental, stuff like that.
What was the original question?
So the original question is that these things that you guys look for, are there unrealistic expectations that you guys like? You guys want this guy, right? And that this guy is supposed to be right up here, right? And then do you guys meet him when you guys are right up here, or do you, that sets like the bar too high for that guy to meet?
I think that some women can be a little unrealistic. I think it's important to be flexible in what your expectations are. So, for example, women have checklists, right?
Yep,
when we
totally.
meet someone, it's box, 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 and
Right.
checking all these things off. However, how specific are your boxes? Are you looking for a man that makes this amount of income?
Right.
And that's a criteria for you, that they have to meet that exact threshold? Or is it, I just want a man that has a career that can take care of himself, take care of me, and we're happy?
Okay. So if you meet a guy and he can take care of you, he is financially in a good place, and you guys are happy, does that make you feel like you've accomplished what you're looking for? Or do you feel like sometimes certain things within you as a woman triggers more for that guy to meet, that expectation for that guy to meet? Rachel.
You're asking, do I feel like so they are achieving all of the qualities that I want, and you're asking, do I think there's more?
So in this day and age, a lot of things with social media, with the era that we're in right now, women have expectations of a specific mind to look for, right? And now you meet that guy, right? And this guy he doesn't have everything perfect, but he has the things that you look for. You are happy with it. But most of the times, a lot of women in this day and age will ditch a guy because maybe he has 1, 2, 3 things on their checklist. The fourth one he doesn't have. And so if that guy now, if let's say, for example, with this day and age, with the way women are, do you feel like women will, their expectations are too high when it comes to what they look for? And do you guys bring that same thing to the table when you meet that ideal guy?
So I know my expectations and my checklist that Lynn mentioned were much longer to a certain degree a couple years ago.
Yep.
And now I've shortened it, but also thought about what do I truly want and what's truly important to me,
Right.
At this point in my life compared to when it used to be.
Right.
And no, I don't think that there is that perfect partner out there. They're not going to check every box. I think they can check a lot of them, and some of the, like, your top 3 values,
Right.
That you really align and are about. I think that that's out there. But when you're first dating someone, you're not, I think it's better to go in with an open mind and see who are they truly to their core, what's their learned experience growing up, and not judge that right off the bat and not try and put them into your checklist and check all the boxes. Just get to know them more so. And then if there's a red flag that comes up that might be really missing the point of your main values,
Right.
Then maybe you readdress or maybe ask them further about it. Like, what do you think about this take on this? So.
And to kind of expand upon what you said too, I think that's such a good point, and that's why a lot of women might not, find their ideal guys because they're so closed-minded in the beginning stages, where if you go into a date with all these, like, they need to meet this, this, and this, you're not allowing yourself to even maybe establish a connection with this person that could happen because you're just so closed off in your mind of what you think that you want. And kind of what you were saying and asking, like, are women's expectations too high? I think that they can be, because, once you just establish feelings with someone, especially very deep feelings, your expectations might change of them, and, like, the things that, how you interact might be a little bit different.
Right.
And also, if you're asking a guy to do something or to be someone at the beginning of your relationship, or when you first start dating, you're not going to get the same result as when you're asking them later.
Right. So, our guys, for me, like, speaking for myself personally, and also for a lot of guys, people I talk to, in this day and age, guys are now catching up onto, okay, we also have to, level up, because right now women have standards that are up here. And we thought that was what we were supposed to have so that we can meet them and go out and just meet someone and everything's flowing. There is chemistry. But now, this day and age that we live in, everything is changing rapidly. And do you feel like guys are also allowed, or if guys have higher expectations of women, do you think that is fair thing for guys to have when they are also seeking the ideal woman? Or do you think, if you guys have this standard or these expectations of the guy you look for, then that should just be, this is, I just need to have my needs met and that's it? Or do you think it has to be an equal kind of like vibration with the with guys?
I think that guys absolutely should have expectations for the girl that they're with, and, vice versa. I want a guy that, first of all, is meets my boxes, not to meet me or meet a girl. I want him to meet those boxes because that's something that he values in himself. And I think that a lot of compatibility with partners is that checklist may be a little bit similar. But yeah, I honestly, that's one of my boxes on my checklist is I want that guy to have a checklist for me.
Nice.
I want them to hold me accountable and make me a better person and make me stronger and push me towards my goals. And yeah, it needs to go both ways.
Nice.
For sure.
What's your thought, Rachel?
Yeah, absolutely. We're all humans in the end, whether what side of the partnership you're on. And we all have things that we like in a partner and things we don't. You can call them values, whatever it may be. But absolutely. It doesn't have to be the woman's standards and needs need to be met. The man, woman, whatever, should definitely be able to have a say as well.
So if you guys meet your ideal man, and this guy check everything on your list, and he tells you, because I am the man, because you guys have your list, whatever list women will give him or you guys will give him, he will check all of it, and even if there is more, he will check all of it. But he says that, okay, this is the kind of man I am. I meet all your needs, but what I'm expecting from you, you don't have. And it could be anything from, let's say, and this is the reason why this conversation came up earlier with body counts. He will meet you and he will tell you, okay, I check everything on the list, but now I only want that kind of body count has to be low or it has to be a specific percentage. If you meet a type of guy and he has everything that you look for, but he has a concern with something, do you feel like that is something that could be discussed as a conversation? I mean, that could be, you guys can have a conversation about, or do you feel like, it's just not necessary?
I personally don't think that it's valuable or provides anything healthy to talk about body counts like that. I mean, I don't really care about it as long as you are with me and you are picking me and our relationship is about the two of us. You're not comparing me to someone else. You're not living in the past. You're not curious about anything.
Yeah.
I don't care about that. But if it's something that you care about with me and that is going to affect our relationship moving forward, then that is not someone that I would want.
Makes sense. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think not specifically the topic of body count, but what's important to be able to be discussed with your partner is like intimate talk. I think it's a part of maturity. That's something I value very high up in a partnership. If you're mature and you are able to have conversations about any topic and take it serious or laugh, whatever the circumstance is, I think that that's very important. And if you're starting out dating someone and they can't take the topic of body count or some other intimate talk seriously, or they're embarrassed or they don't want to open up, not necessarily a major turnoff or that you should red flag, ditch them immediately, but maybe just keep it in the back of your head and try and poke at it again to have them open up.
Well, and body count is something of your past, right? You can't change that. You can't fix that moving forward. So if that's something that bothers them, that they are not going to be able to get over themselves, then that's kind of where that relationship terminates, if that's something that's really critical to them on their checklist. Because really, in those regards of your past, there's nothing you can do about it. And again, I don't think that body count is something that necessarily needs to be shared, but other things of your past that's really important to you that shaped you into the person that you are that could be difficult for another person to hear. Not to get, well, yes, let's get super deep. Like if you have family trauma, for example, and you bring that up to your partner and you say, I had this and I don't speak with my family anymore, but your partner values family, that's kind of a situation where it's like, are you going to be able to move forward with this? Because this shaped me into the person that I am, and that's something that you likely are going to need to talk about moving forward, especially when you're wanting to establish a family with this person. So it kind of depends there where does the past need to be talked about or not? And can we move forward with how things happened?
Makes sense. Okay, so now let's dive more deeper, okay? So with women, what are about 5 things on you guys' list that you guys look for? We're gonna start with you first. 5 things. There's something that you the guys. Let's say you go out today. You go out to the bar or whatever, and that guy, that ideal guy, in general, like when you have conversations with your friends, things that they share. You've had friends. They talk about their exes and all this, jazz. But what are about 5 things that, from your opinion, women desire in their men?
Um, I'm sure this varies between women a little bit, and I'm gonna loop this one into one. I want a man that takes care of himself both physically and mentally. Again, you need to be a whole person before you can be a good partner to someone else, and that's super critical to me. I want a man that a little bit aggressive. I want someone that's masculine. I want to be the feminine
Aggressive.
entity
Okay.
in your life.
You see, when you
So-
talking about aggressive, now I'm like, okay, aggressive. There's so many aggressiveness, So aggressive, as in what type of aggressive are you talking about?
Do you mean like masculine?
I mean that, in like a couple ways.
Okay, I think
But yes, I want like a man that's, I guess, confident is a better word.
Better
Like someone
word,
that's
okay.
confident but not boastful. That you would come up to me and be like, "Hey, I'd like to take you out on a date. I want you to plan it. I want you to come pick me up and do these things." Again, that's how I want to feel. I know that some other women, want to be, don't really care about the, feminine, masculine aspect. It's just a personal thing for me that I prefer.
Okay, so guys, ladies, they prefer confidence. If you don't have confidence, okay, this is one of the things that I even agree with them. If you don't have confidence, it's a no-go for you. If you don't know how to develop your confidence or how to mature yourself so you can be able to meet, it doesn't hurt to just go out and just say, hey, my name is this, whatever your introduction is. You can start with, the jokes or whatever. Well, just a way to just present yourself. So confidence is number one, guys. If you want to really meet that ideal woman you look for, women, they look for a man who is really confident. I couldn't agree more. And a couple more. What you were saying, a few more things.
Well, I want a man to be polite. I want a man to
You don't want a
be-
douchebag?
I mean,
Something.
I've had a couple in the past. Actually, quite a few.
Yeah,
More than I'd
okay.
like to admit. And someone that's driven, has goals. I always want you to be working on ways to improve yourself because that's something that I always do too. And, things can always be better even when they're good, even great. Mine number 4 or 5.
Number 5.
Okay. And number 5 is...
Okay. So we're gonna dive the question to Rachel, and then we'll come back to Lynne. She'll think about what women look for. The number 5 thing. Okay. What about you, Rachel? And you are not gonna say the same thing she said. Okay. It doesn't matter. Just speak your truth. So
No repeats.
no repeats. Okay.
Well, your 4 that you had were more descriptive. When you at first posed the question, I thought of like values, like one word things. So that's what I'm going to go with.
Yeah. Sure.
We've kind of like touched on all of these high level, but family oriented,
Okay.
communication driven,
Okay.
passion or ambitious,
Okay.
loyal, and
No hoes.
No hoes.
Oh boy. Hoes. Okay. Hoes. Okay.
I guess loyalty, some people have different takes and definitions on it, but really it comes down to my partner has my best interest in mind.
Okay.
So if I'm in the wrong,
So hoes.
no.
Okay. You're trying to do. Okay. So you were trying to really elaborate. So I'm just trying to make sure Okay. got
Yeah,
it.
loyalty, in my opinion, because I guess it could be subjective,
Right.
is that my partner has my best interests at all times.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but if we're, for example, say at a public setting, and my partner knows that I'm in the wrong, they're still gonna. I expect them to be loyal and ride with me until be on my side until we get home into a private place, and they can say, "Hey, I kind of disagreed with you there, but." Obviously they were going to
It
be
is
loyal
what
to
it
me
is.
in public, and they were going to ride with me until the end. That's what I see loyalty. And there's a lot of other examples, but they have my best interest in mind. my best interest was, we're going to take this conversation private, but I'm not going to embarrass you in the moment in public.
Makes sense. Valid. Okay. So with this conversation that we had today, I totally wanted to dive into this and just have you guys share your perspective, because a lot of times in this day and age, especially, a lot of guys are saying that women have too high expectations and they are not even meeting those expectations. So I wanted to bring you guys on to be able to share your thoughts from different background, different life experiences, so that either guys or ladies who listen to this will be able to gain some value as far as things that they have to really have, so that they can meet the ideal lady or ideal woman they're looking for, either a girlfriend, someone to marry, whatever it is. So whenever I do this, I always like to speak with my guests and say, okay, what questions do you also have for me, kind of like sitting in between here trying to represent the guys? I've asked you a couple of questions back and forth. What specific questions do you guys have that you feel like you would like guys to really would like to ask me from a guy's perspective?
I guess something that I would like to ask is, this whole kind of conversation and topic of the podcast is what men can be to be the ideal man. Do you think that men change or put on a front with women that they meet to be what they think that woman expects when they're not that way?
So for me, what I will say personally, my personal experience, and also when having conversations with friends, a lot of the guys feel like the only reason they will put on a face from the beginning is just because they feel like maybe they would not be able to be accepted or be welcome, or feel like, okay, they are meeting all this standard when they come open and they come and tell, hey, this is who I am, this is what I do for a living, whatever. You guys can say, oh, he's nice looking, but he doesn't make enough money. Okay, that's it. So most of the times, a lot of guys try to put on a face, because there's a thing out there saying that women love when guys lie to them. There's a thing out there.
Who said that?
Okay, this is the thing with when guys are having conversation compared to when women are having conversations. A guy will tell his friend, like his buddy, like, dude, you're fat, go to the gym. Most women will say, oh, girl, you're fine. It's just a little 20 pounds, whatever. See, that kind of truth, I will see my guy friends. I mean, I don't approach them that way. A lot of the guys, they give it to them as it is. But a lot of the time, women don't say that. So let's say you have Rachel, and there's something about Rachel, and it's just the way that it is. You don't want to just say that way, because that it's going to hit Rachel in a way where she's going to feel a certain type of way.
So women sugarcoat.
They sugarcoat a little bit.
Okay.
Guys, we don't. So if a guy is coming to you, he has to look a certain way for you to see him first. And then, like you were saying in your conversation, once the person, there is more emotions built, now a lot of things are unveiling, and then you feel like, okay, these things I really didn't like. I mean, I wouldn't accept it from the beginning, but their emotional attachment is already there. So I will kind of like, take one for the team and just, talk to him and maybe make it work, or, call it a day. That's one of the things. Another thing is that a lot of guys have ego. Mm-hmm. You see, a lot of guys have ego, but you see, sometimes it's just, you cannot blame the guys, depending on who you meet. I'm just speaking in general. A lot of guys have ego. They want to be able to be seen in this way. So once they come with that persona, you look at the person and say, okay, this is very attractive, before you start getting to know more. But sometimes they don't do it. They don't do it like, this is authentically who I am. They don't do it in a way where it feels more like they are lying to you. They are not lying to you. They just like you, and that's where that confidence come in. They just like you, and they're like, I am this man, and I just want a chance. This is why we kind of like try to put on all this mask before we actually unveil who we are. And sometimes, some guys are very honest. If they really like you, they will be able to, adjust to the situation, work on things. That's what I'm just speaking from some guys. But for me, from my past and stuff like that, that's normally how I will play. But some guys may be different. So just a little guy's perspective. Any questions, Rachel?
No, No direct questions at the moment, but I think adjusting is a good point that you just brought up. Like, you should be able to be adaptable to your partner, at least in the beginning, and it doesn't have to be in a major way. But yeah, I'd be able to adapt to some of their needs and hear them out at least.
Okay, guys. So I wanted the ladies to really drill me with more questions. Any more questions? Does anyone? It could be general questions, things that you've gone out, you've seen with guys, and you're like, why do you guys do this? Why do you guys do this?
I
And-
have one. Okay.
Deal.
So you kind of made the point, at least from a guy's perspective, that the major thing that you want to present is confidence. And I feel that maybe guys and women's definitions of that can be different. And a lot of times, especially when I first meet a guy, I feel talked at sometimes. And, you know, it's kind of funny. If my sister is watching this, I hope not. But the one thing that stuck with me was when she came to visit me at college and she's like, Lynn, men like hoops with dark hair and to talk about themselves. And that's one thing that, like...
So is that the reason why you have dark hair?
Oh, yeah.
Oh boy.
And I guess sometimes a major turnoff for me is I think a guy is trying to be confident and it comes off as boastful. So I guess like a question that I have for you is, how do you think most guys try to portray confidence? Because that can either honestly like make or break an interaction with a woman, in my opinion, depending on how you go about it. Because I think our definition of confidence can be different.
I think a lot of guys work a lot. We're all about work, work, work. I think a lot of guys use their possession, their money, their cars, where they live, what they do. Because sometimes you meet guys, and there are some men out there, I don't really, it's depend on status. There are some men out there who will talk about their job, how much money they're making, because they're losing something. So that is like, this covers the confidence. I mean, eventually maybe you'll see through that, but at the end of the day, the confidence is like, if they are lacking that, they're going to use all these things as a way to kind of like finesse you. That's the word. That would be the word, to kind of like, groom you, and you feel like, okay, I love this life, I want to go take you on vacation, stuff like that. And I think so.
I think that can impress some women. However, to me personally, I almost view that as an insecurity, and that you're trying to prove something to me if you have to make a comment of, this is how much money I make, this is what I can afford, this is what I can do this. And Rachel, you can tell me if you agree with me or not, but
what's your thoughts
to
on that?
me, confidence is I'm secure in myself, and I don't have to prove that to anybody. I think that privacy can be confidence, and, asking me about what I do and actually having a back and forth conversation and showing interest, like that to me is confidence. And, not having to be the center of attention at the bar in front of the group of people or anything like that. Like, to me, that screams confidence.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And I think that gives a lot of the guys out there a little bit more perspective, for them to know that it's not really with the money, your money is necessary. And I always say, guys, get your money right. Doesn't matter where you're starting, how you're starting. Get your money right. Get your fitness right. Get your lifestyle. Get your mindset, everything right. At the end of the day, if you're really going to meet that ideal woman that you look for, it is all about who you are, who you authentically are. Present that. And if you find that person who aligns with that, they will match with you. And you can still meet your ideal woman if you're not in the financially stable place you want to be, because and you have a goal. That's the thing. You cannot be a bum and try to wife an Instagram model. It doesn't work that way. There is all these expectations there. So I will say, I totally agree with what you said with the level of confidence and how that comes off, because sometimes when guys don't have that, they get too boastful. They're like, doing all these things to kind of cover up, and I'm not confident enough to approach you. I'm not confident enough to win you over. So I'm going to use all these positions around me to kind of like sweep you off. And then eventually you see through that, and then it doesn't work. So totally understandable. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I would just add to confidence when, for example, if we're using our example of going up to someone at a bar or a public setting, be respectful. You have to think about put yourself in the woman's shoes or whoever you're going up to. Some people and also the women, they might not be in the place to receive someone hitting on them or
Right.
talking to them. You never know
Right.
if they're available or not, if they're open to it, what they're seeking. You don't know that. So you're taking a chance 1st off. So I think it's important to keep in mind to be authentic, like we said, and then have respect for the person. They're another human. I don't know just how each man or woman would want to receive someone coming at them, but I think respect is the number one thing. Be polite, respectful,
And have confidence.
Yeah, and I mean, have confidence. It's confidence enough to go up to somebody. That's hard enough, right? So just be respectful and don't talk too much about yourself. Maybe engage in them, ask them more questions, and I think you can get the vibe right away in the beginning if they're willing to engage or if they're not. And if they're not, then be respectful and remove yourself.
Deal.
I think that men will linger around, and that's where their ego kind of gets in the way, and they think they need to impress the person with buying them something or showing off or just word vomit in a way.
I was going to end the podcast, but this boy woke up.
Hi, Bob. So Bob is hitting on me right now.
See?
But Bob has nothing to prove.
Bob is just
Ideal
Bob.
man.
He's very perfect.
All right, guys. I hope you guys had some value. I hope you enjoyed this conversation I had with the ladies. I know questions were being thrown around back and forth, but I wanted to at least, the things that I can think about that guys look for, just ask you guys and have an open conversation. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope it brought some value. Again, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe. Bob will be happy that you subscribe. Okay, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow. And if you enjoy the content, hit the like button, guys. And we'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.